Hi everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, you're looking at my hands and my makeup again, and this is going to be the last video in this format in a while because I just did my Declutter series and now I'm doing a two-part makeup collection video because someone requested this video so you can kind of see what is still left in my collection after all the decluttering, but you haven't seen my face in quite a few videos. But next video I'll show my face again and I'll do like a proper sit down video. But today is the last part of my makeup collection and those are my eyeshadow palettes. I already did a big eyeshadow palette declutter and sort of like mini collection. I went through everything and decluttered as we were like looking at everything, and that video got a crazy amount of views, so thank you so much. I really appreciate that. But today I thought we would go over my collection, see what I have left in here, and also kind of chat about the products that I have, what I think of them, how often I use them, because I definitely use some of these products more than others. So I think that would be a fun video idea. So let's just start on this side and then we'll move all the way to this side. So I kind of put everything by brand. So let's just start with Tarte. I have two Tarte palettes right here. I have a smaller one and then a big one. So this is the smaller Tarte palette that I have, and this is the Tartelette Juicy palette, and this used to be my favorite palette for quite a while. And this is what that palette looks like. I need to be a bit careful with how I show everything because of my ring light. I hope it's not too distracting. But this used to be like my favorite palette for quite a while, and it's also in my project pan because I just felt like this was such a good palette and I really wanted to hit pan on this because of how much I love this. I still love this, but I definitely don't love it as much anymore. I find it not necessarily boring, but I'm kind of a little bit over the looks that I've created with this, but I've decided to keep this because this is a lovely palette and it is just one of those go-to neutral palettes with like these pink tones that you can just wear every single day, and it's just really pretty. So this one from Tarte I still really like. I know not everyone is a big fan of the Tarte formula, but I find their mattes incredibly easy and their shimmers are just nice as well. And then the other Tarte palette that I have is this very big palette, and this is the Tartelette Full Bloom eyeshadow palette. Unfortunately, I think this might have been discontinued, or at least it's not available at the moment, which kind of sucks. I remember the Tartelette Juicy had a big palette as well, and when I finally decided I wanted to get that palette, the like big one was discontinued, so I got the small one instead. But I know a lot of people still really want this one, but I think it's discontinued. But this is one I picked up in the springtime, and I got this because this was such a great deal for how many shades you're getting. I think this retailed for around 50 euros. I got it on sale for like 36 or something, so I felt like that was a great deal, and you just have so many shades in here. Like truly this could be the only palettes in your collection and you could still wear a different eye look every day because of how many shades are in here. You have cool tones, you have mauve tones, you have like pinky tones, warm tones. This is just a super pretty palette, and I even find the shimmer formula to be quite nice as well. I don't love all the shimmers as much, but most of them are really pretty. Look how pretty that is, and it's also definitely like quite reflective. I know a lot of people like don't like Tarte eyeshadows because of their shimmer formula, and I wouldn't say they're like comparable to Pat McGrath or anything like that, but I definitely don't mind them. I feel like they are sometimes a little bit lackluster, but they can also be really pretty like this one. Let me swatch one more shade. This is the shade Freesia. And that is what the shade Freesia looks like. This one is a bit more flaky, but it's still really gorgeous, and you can definitely see like these are metallic eyeshadows. These are beautiful shimmers. So this is a great palette from Tarte. I really love using this, and of course I kept this because I still really enjoy this. Speaking about Pat McGrath, I actually have two Pat McGrath palettes. So I'll start with the smaller one. This one is from Bridgerton, and it is the Pat McGrath Bridgerton Diamond of the First Water eyeshadow palette. Now I've never watched Bridgerton, but I just loved the look of this collection. I thought it was super gorgeous. So this is what it looks like. I feel like this is such a gorgeous palette, and I got this because this was like one of the more affordable Pat McGrath palettes. Like we all know how expensive Pat McGrath palettes can be, and I really wanted to try one, so I got this one, and it's really pretty. I definitely don't regret it. It's a beautiful like pinky toned look. I really love these beige chalet type shades, and then these two are nice as well, but the special shade for me is this one. It's the blue one, and I'll give that a swatch as well. Like this is definitely like one of those shades that makes Pat McGrath like special. I'll give that a swatch on my hand as well. So that is what that looks like. Like, how beautiful is this shade? I will say I don't wear it as much as I thought I would, because it's of course quite reflective and I have to go to the office every day, so I don't really wear like this type of eye look to work. But for the weekends or when I'm filming or just playing around with makeup, I feel like this is a beautiful shade. Like, look at that. And then you guys, the most expensive eyeshadow palette in my collection is this one from Pat McGrath, and this is the Pat McGrath Moonlit Seduction eyeshadow palette. And this is not necessarily the one I've spent the most money on, because I got this for a great deal, but it is the one that retails for the most amount of money when you look at all the palettes from my collection. And I've said it before, but I got this because Pat McGrath uses this on Taylor Swift and I was already looking at it, and then we saw this deal on the Pat McGrath website where you could basically buy 2 Mothership palettes for 144 euros. So I split it with a friend and we both ended up getting this one for 72 euros each. So I got this for 72 euros, which I know is still like a big amount of money for an eyeshadow palette, but if you're a Pat McGrath lover and you're like a high-end makeup lover, you know, like, this is totally worth the price. I was a little bit underwhelmed by the matte shades. I don't think they're bad or anything, I just expected a bit more from it, but the special shades are definitely like super special. I'm not going to swatch all of them, but I'll definitely like swatch 1 or 2. Let me swatch this like icy lavender shade. How cool is that? That top one is what that looks like. As you can see, it's more pinky toned than the one from the Bridgerton palette. And then let's also swatch this one, because this is like pretty much a duochrome. You can see it shifts from like a red or a purple to like a blue. It's super cool. So I feel like these shades from Pat McGrath are definitely super special. Like I said, I don't wear them a ton, so this one I'm very glad I got for such a great deal, because it's absolutely lovely. Then let's take a look at these 2 Vive palettes right here, because as you can see, I actually have 2 of them. This is the first one. This is Vive the Essentials palette. I did a full review on this, so I will try to link that down below if I don't forget. But this is a beautiful neutral tone palette. It's actually like one of my favorite palettes in my collection. Every time I wear this, I just feel like my eye look turns out so nice. The mattes blend absolutely so easy. Like, I think the easiest mattes I have in my collection. The shimmers could be a bit more special. They're quite dry, I feel like, but this is a beautiful palette, you guys. If you are looking for a neutral tone palette, I just keep this in a sleeve because I think it's pretty. And then this is the most recent addition to the Vive line, and this is the Vive 90s palette. I think you guys have seen this palette because it's kind of like all over Instagram. A lot of people are talking about this, and that is because the color story of this. As you can see, this color story is just a very cool tone. I feel like for years, every brand was so focused on like warm tones. Warm tones got so popular, but I feel like cool tones can be beautiful as well, especially for the winter time with like a red lip. I just think this is beautiful. So I don't wear this as much as some of my other palettes because I think I prefer my palettes to be a bit warmer than this one, but it's still pretty and I get a lot of pretty looks out of this one. So that is the Vive 90s palette. I'm not going to be swatching those shimmers because they aren't like super special. I then have one palette from Anastasia, and this is the Anastasia Nouveau palette. This is technically a pressed pigment palette because I think there's 3 pressed pigments in here, but this palette is super stunning. I think this was like the palette that got Anastasia back on the map. I feel like people were kind of like, I wouldn't say like over the brand, but a lot of people, including myself, were kind of like bored by it. And now that she released these eyeshadow palettes in like this style, I feel like the brand's gotten a lot more popular again, and I definitely felt like this is a great palette. I'll just give that green shimmer a swatch because it is really pretty. Like this sage green shimmer, it's called Wings. It's just super pretty. And then I'll also swatch this shade. It's called Peacock. I feel like this is a very interesting shade. It's also a bit like that Pat McGrath. It has like a very brown red toned base to it, but it has a like green to blue shift in there, which I think is really like special. I don't wear this shade a lot because it is quite deep on me. Like I would prefer the Pat McGrath one because it is a bit less deep, but if you are into these like duochrome shades, you might really like this one. So that was already my Anastasia collection. I just have one palette. I just washed my hands because that shimmer was really deep and otherwise it would go all over my palettes. But now let's move on to Natasha Denona. I have 2 minis and 1 bigger palette. This one is the Mini Crush eyeshadow palette that launched for Valentine's Day of this year. This is a really pretty palette. I feel like it isn't like the easiest to work with because of this shade, but it does create like a beautiful pinky purpley toned eye look, especially this shade. I feel like it's just gorgeous. Like, how beautiful of a pink shade is that right there? I feel like this is a really cute little palette. And then the other one I have right here is Mini Biba, and as you can see, there's quite a dip in that middle shade. I feel like this shade is just super beautiful, and it's like one of the main reasons I love this palette so much. It's sort of like a rose gold shade. I don't really know how to describe it, but it just makes every single eye look so special. So this one I love as well. So that is Mini Biba. And then the last Natasha Denona palette I have is Midi Retro. I don't use this as much anymore, but this is a really beautiful like mauve toned palette. So let's swatch one of the shades. This one is the shade Glitz, and it's a beautiful like pink to gold shade. So this is a really lovely palette. So let's just put some of these to the side. I then have this Cinnamon Swirl eyeshadow palette from Too Faced. This was from the holiday collection of 2021, and I'm still mad they did not do a tin palette like this year. I know they did like the second pumpkin, but it's a cardboard palette, which I just feel like it's not the same. This is beautiful though. I love using this. So this one is the Cinnamon Swirl. This one is Major Dimension Volume 2. I'm not going to swatch these because I feel like I've mentioned these on my channel a lot of times, but this is a beautiful mauve tone palette. And this is Major Dimension Volume 1. I need to use this tomorrow because it's beautiful, and I sometimes just forget to reach for this. So definitely using this tomorrow when I do my makeup. This is beautiful. Then I of course have my Charlotte Tilbury Quads and Little palette. This one is the Super Nudes eyeshadow palette, and this is just like a really nice all matte palette. I don't use this a lot because I always wear a shimmer shade as well, so I would have to reach for a separate shimmer shade. But when I want to do like a quick matte eye look, I really like this one. This one is the Uptown Girl, and this is a really pretty like purpley blue toned cool toned palette, but it has some like hints of pink in there, so I feel like this is really pretty. I need to reach for that more as well. This quad in the shade Star Aura is just so beautiful. Let me swatch this shade. These are just super soft and pretty. Look how beautiful that looks like with a bit of a sheen in there, but they're just so beautiful. This one is the Bella Sophia, and this is a bit deeper and a bit more warm tone as well. This one, the Golden Goddess, I've mentioned quite a few times on my channel as well, but this is also a beautiful palette for everyday. The Rebel is a really cool like olive toned green eyeshadow palette, and let me swatch one of these shades as well. It just has a beautiful like olive green undertone in there, and it's really pretty. I don't wear green eyeshadows a lot, but when I want to wear them occasionally, I feel like this is a really nice palette for that. This one in Pillow Talk, of course, is such a classic. I don't reach for this one as much simply because I have a lot of these colors in other palettes as well. This one is Fire Rose. It's so beautiful, but I'm not going to swatch it because it's just too pretty, but it's no longer available. So that would be like very sad if you would want it then. But this is a really nice palette, and I'm still sad that this was discontinued. Then this one is Celestial Pearl, and this was from the holiday season of 2021 as well. And this is like a beautiful palette as well with all shimmer. And lastly, I have this one, which is the Luxury palette of Pops, and I'm waiting for the holiday season to wear this because this is just really pretty and sparkly. Palette that I kept but I don't use a lot is this one from Sigma. This is the Sigma Beauty and Cinderella palette. Like, when you look at the color story, it's just a little bit random, and I never really know what type of look to do with this, but it is like a really cute palette and it's Cinderella themes, so I just have to keep it, but it's not one that I use like on a weekly or even monthly basis. I have this one from the BH Cosmetics travel series, and this is the Passion in Paris palette. This is what it looks like. It has some beautiful deep blues in there, some reds, and I just feel like it's gorgeous. So this one is really pretty. This one is the Zoeva Cocoa Blend eyeshadow palette. I got this as a gift. I don't use it a lot, but it is really pretty for on the go. And the last two palettes here are from REM Beauty, and I'm definitely disappointed by these palettes, mainly because of the quality. Like, the color stories I think are beautiful. They smell a bit like chemicals, but this just smells like it was really cheap, and it wasn't super expensive, but it definitely wasn't super cheap. I just really dislike the smell. So because I don't like the smell and the formula, I actually think I'm still going to declutter these. Camera battery just died, but I need to finish recording this video. But what I was saying is just that these REM Beauty palettes just let me down, so I think I'm still going to declutter these because, like I said, I just really dislike the smell, and the quality isn't good either. So these ones are still going to be decluttered. And then also this one, which is Smitten Kitten. I also cannot pronounce that. So then this was it for my eyeshadow palette collection. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Let me know what you think of the palettes I still have left in here. Again, sorry, I'm filming with my phone right now. My camera battery needs to be charged, but I hope you guys don't mind. If you did enjoy this video, then I would absolutely love it if you gave it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. All of these things would help me so much with my channel, and I'd really appreciate it. But with that said, I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I really hope to see you in my next video. Bye!